So Stranger Things Season 5 recently came out a few days back, and even though I made it short on my thoughts of what I would think of Stranger Things 5, I guess I can go more or less into the actual thoughts of what I thought about when it came down to Stranger Things Season 5, but with spoilers. If you haven't seen the series, or at least Season 5, please proceed with caution or just click off of this video. So, let's get started. To make one thing clear, I did not intend to make a spoiler review, and even though in itself I'm kind of on the ring of actually explaining some of the spoilers, I think I feel confident enough to actually talk about the series enough to where I can simply explain it. I guess I should see how long it's going to take me to explain this plot, so this is going to be fun. I think I should go into the massive details, which basically, it's 1987, Hawkins was basically locked down by the government, the military is still chasing down Eleven, all the characters have gone down to living their normal lives based in Hawkins, for the most part. Eleven had also spent her time training to try to figure out how to take down the government and so and taking down Vecna, but had actually stayed very down low as well, like from the others, to try to make sure that they didn't get involved. Robin had started her own radio station with Steve that would also transmit radio waves, that would also give so-and-so like secret messages that would be involved, like things with the crawl. It comes down to every once in a while they would do these crawls because the main area of what would happen in Season 4 with the crackage would be called the Big Mac or Mac Z. And they would do these crawls that they would do basically sneaking in thanks to the government doing these transports into the Upside Down. Well, this one would go wrong thanks to, well, Dustin not being there, Hopper getting stuck in the Upside Down, and then also Demogorgons getting a hold of Holly and basically taking them to the Upside Down and so. Them basically getting down to trying to help find Holly, but then getting mixed up in a case of so many other things, including Steve, Nancy, Dustin, and Jonathan getting stuck in the Upside Down, 11 getting stuck in the Upside Down trying to help Holly. The crew finds out that there would be a bunch of other kids who would also be captured as well, but the government had already tried sending the kids to Mac Z to try to keep them safe, so the crew decided to plan on trying to help them escape before the Demogorgons out there. The plan goes wrong thanks to the military finding out, but also the Demogorgons getting down to actually getting to the kids anyway and stealing them away. And now on to probably the next part. Okay, that's the main baseline. Now on to the more juicier details with what would be Season 5. This is where spoilers are going to be involved, so if you have not seen the series, then please do skip off of this video. There's a lot more lore that happens in this series with, like, not only Will seeing Robin and Vicky, which is a massive ship in the series that actually is happening during at least Volume 1 and probably the procedure of Volume 2. Will also, like, possibly try to get onto Mike as well, even though so-and-so, possibly 11 being Mike's girlfriend and so. By the very end of episode 4, we find out that Will actually has powers when basically Vecna tries to take over Will, but actually has a moment of realization of self-acceptance, which Robin had given a talk earlier thanks to an interaction that he had with Mike. It's also found out that also number 8 is also involved with this whole government thing, but not in the way that they think, or at least so-and-so, that they're somewhat involved. Max is also alive, but just in Vecna's memories and somehow in some way. Holly's also involved in Henry's memories, which is also Vecna. And this is where all Season 5, Volume 1 comes down to an end. Or at least to a certain extent, because that's basically what we come down to. And I think my thoughts of what I would think of Season 5, I am happy that they did not reveal as much as they thought that people thought in the trailer. This series, at least this season anyway, did not reveal as much as I think people probably expected. And I think what people thought the series was actually going to come down to including, and I think maybe in the finale it's probably going to include, is actually Will possibly dying, or so-and-so. But this didn't actually happen. So far, it hasn't. I think this season did a lot more of a better job when it came down to more or less some of the character development, like Mike, and I think the idea of also including Max as well in the way that she was introduced. Surprisingly nice. The idea of being in Henry's memories. It's a lot more of a form of a finale that you can actually think of. A lot of the main story developments in this series as well has come down to, like, I mean, not only Will, who's the main character in this story, and then Mike as well, which, the big thing which I have to bring up is Byler, the whole ship with Byler, and it's the big thing of, like, the whole character development and then mixed signals with what audience would think is rejection. I think the main thing which I should mainly say is don't entirely reject the idea of Byers not happening or the possibility of it happening, because, well, the case of it happening is starting to rise. It's starting to go higher every single minute, but it's only going to come down to, I think, the finale where we're going to really find out if it is confirmed. So it's a case where a lot of people theorize and a lot of people are on board with it. I'm personally one who's mostly on board, but on a certain extent. I actually made a video on a picture that was actually revealed of a behind the scenes thing, and even somebody tried saying that it was just a thing from an old fandom or something. I'm putting my hands down and probably saying that it's probably going to come down to something happening whatsoever, at least in the volume 2 or the finale. And the possibility of them getting together is kind of on a mid-shot, if I'm being honest. I thought this season was actually done really nicely. I think one of my favorite scenes was that Steve Harrington scene with his beamer when Dustin decided to just drill into his beamer. That's probably one of my favorite scenes. I also really liked when Will actually found out about Robin and Vicky. That was like one of the big scenes where I can't stop thinking about it, where I think if anything that was kind of a realization for Will to say that this is kind of like, I don't know, it shocked him, but it definitely led on to a better friendship between Robin and Will. There's definitely some questionable plot points here, like there's a point where they decide to kidnap a bunch of kids towards the 4th episode. Okay, not exactly the best idea. I understand the intent, but it's like, no, that's out of context and basically is not good.
You can't kill us all. We will protect the chosen one.
The whole thing between Jonathan and Steve is kind of a meh thing too. Like the entire thing of them trying to fight for Nancy when it should be Jonathan who cares the most, and then Steve should just care. And it's like season 4 came down to having Steve confessing that Nancy was in his dream and everything of having a bunch of kids. I think my score, at least for volume 1 anyway, like I went down to actually saying that was a really good season. Volume 2 and the finale are going to be better ones, but I would say my score for volume 1 anyway, volume 1 is an 8 out of 10. I think I would actually say an 8.5 out of 10 so far. I think it's an 8 to an 8.5, so I'm probably going in the middle there. It's a decent enough story so far. I think it's heading in a really good direction for the final season of what would be Stranger Things. I like how the certain storylines are being handled, like the whole thing with Will's self-confrontation and him and his homosexuality. I think this whole storyline with the memories and Henry's memories, the government, and then number 8 being involved. There's a lot more involved, and I'm happy that they didn't spoil it in the trailer. That's why I give that a bit of a bonus 0.5, as well as that they didn't reveal so much to where it literally spoils what would be in this particular season. And now it's just time to wait for volume 2 and the finale in the next 3 weeks, next 3 to 4 weeks. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little video on Stranger Things Volume 5, the spoiler version. I hope that people actually liked the way I explained the plot and everything. And do please consider subscribing to the channel, giving this video a like, looking in my back catalog. And I'll see you guys later when I talk about a bunch of dead LOL cows, because that's something which I do want to talk about. Actually, Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, because I have one of these now, and I will definitely be talking about this soon. Bye.